What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let me say shout out to everybody who's been hanging with us for our live stream. It's Thursday Night Football, the first game of the week, Miami versus the Buffalo Bills. And what was kind of crazy, because Buffalo was favored by, um, 12 and a half points. And it ended up being, they kicked a field goal in the end and ended up winning by 10. Miami held into it, but mistakes killed them. Tua looked the receiver in and was just literally picked off by the linebacker, roughing the kicker of the punter penalty. Killed Miami, and now the Miami Dolphins are 0-3. And what's crazy is, and I've kind of pointed this out a couple times, and 49er fan got mad at me. Well, how are you pointing that out about him, this, that, and the other? The truth is, it doesn't matter if he was, whatever. The reality is he was a hot coordinator that everybody thought was going to be the boy genius and was going to lead Miami to the promised land. And they did a lot of things to give him players. When you think about some of the receivers, Jalen Waddle and Tariq Hill and things like that, they were so good as far as personnel went. Here's how crazy it is. Even though Philly 500 is always like, Dak Prescott, he's always had great weapons. He had CeeDee Lamb and Cedric Wilson. And it's like, yo, bro. You ever heard the saying that if I had your money, I'd throw mine away? In essence, that was the Miami Dolphins with their receivers. Cedric Wilson was actually a really good receiver for 1 year for the Cowboys, and we relied on him. When he got to Miami, he couldn't get on the damn field because he had so many people better than him. So this is one of the best that the Cowboys had, but at Miami with the weapons they have, he couldn't get on the field. And you look at this and say, after firing Brian Flores, they said he wasn't good enough and smart enough to be the coach and stuff, right? He was doing more than less than what this guy was doing. And now Mike McDaniels is 0-3, and he is truly on the hot seat. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not sure if it's going to be him or Brian Daboll. Quite frankly, here's the thing. It's Thursday night. At least if you fire him now, tomorrow morning, you got a couple extra days to figure out the next guy. Or you wait till the bye week, and I'm not sure when the bye week is. It's literally that bad. You got Tariq Hill being investigated and blowing up, and of course he just got his mega divorce where he's got 5 new baby mamas. Miami's just a mess. Now, sorry to go on about that. But the Cowboys, what is being kind of reported, Savon Ravel, our rookie from Carolina, East Carolina Pirate, who they say had he not gotten injured the beginning of last year in September, that he would have been a first-round drafted cornerback. That sounds great. But they believe he's going to be making his debut after the Green Bay game, week number 5. Because we keep hearing about, we got reinforcements coming. So what we're saying then is we hopefully can get through and get a win against the Bears. Hope that, see what happens. Maybe they look at it and say, Green Bay, maybe we don't have a chance in that one. But then come week 5, we got the Jets. We'll get extra players back. And I got to say, that Overshown has been chomping at the bit for quite a while. He had it months ago that he was going to be back before Thanksgiving. And I really think it's going to be in October. And that would be some of the best news that we can get if we get him back and he's anywhere near where he was last year, because he was dynamic. And that's what we need to hope for. So, something else that was really cool today that I learned, coming down the road. It's not very often that Tracy is in the videos. She doesn't like to be on camera, which is cool. But sometimes when she's close by, I'll talk and bounce things off her, or I'll flirt with her and stuff, because in my mind, we may be 60, but she is a sexy 60. And I love my wife to death. And coming down the road, I was doing a video, and somehow I got talking about Solomon Thomas. And I said, Dak's doppelganger. And so Tracy looked him up, and she was like, and she started reading out more about him. And I found out something about Solomon Thomas that I didn't know. Now, what you should understand, Solomon Thomas, run stopping, I think is grading out at the highest as defensive tackle in the NFL right now. I think that's what I read. Grading out run stopping, I can't remember what it said. It's been a long day. But she was reading, not only does he resemble Dak, but 5 years ago, his sister committed suicide. And his foundation is doing a lot for suicide prevention. And she was reading the story and things about, for him, one of the things that he started to do is, in his free time, he said he needed a hobby. And his hobby became making sourdough bread. Now, that may not sound like a hobby to you, but bread making is an art. And you don't know what kind of bread ovens and things that he has. But kneading the dough, letting the yeast rise, it's a process. And we all need something to keep our idle hands busy and our minds refreshed. You know, he said he would normally go home and be thinking about football constantly and all that, but he needed an outlet in something different, and bread making became it. And I bet you, if he's been doing this for the years that he's talking about and everything else, he's probably an extremely good bread maker. And so that's the kind of person and personality that the Cowboys have been trying to instill. People that are leaders in the community, leaders in the locker room, and good character guys. Now, we'll see if those good character guys are going to be what they need to win. I like the basis of this team. I don't know if they have enough or not, but I think that they'll have an opportunity each week, and we'll see how it goes. On another note, today's been a really busy day. Got up this morning. I'm working on building this cupola for the building out here, and tomorrow morning I want to take it over to my friend Shenanigans at the Virginia Institute of Blacksmithing, and see if they can make the roof for me and make the wind vane that's going to go on it, which will be kind of cool to be able to shoot a video on there. But today we went to the Department of Historic Resources for the state of Virginia, where they were doing the presentation of the preliminary study and nomination for this house to be put on the National Register. And it's passed another hurdle where they said it was a no-brainer. They said, we love what you've done with the house. And the things, there's two areas that they're working on to qualify this. One, for education purposes, because it was originally meant to be a school. And second, the architecture of the house being the federal style, which was, when they started doing the federal style, it was to get away from the nobility from England. And when you had a house, one built out of bricks in the 1820s, one that signified wealth, because that wasn't a readily, you didn't just go to Home Depot and buy bricks. They literally built the bricks out here from the clay bank that was there. So because of that, and of course the architecture of it being a federal style, which is the chimneys on each side, the symmetrical building, the door in the middle, and of course the 3 windows on top and 2 windows on the bottom, that it qualifies as far as the architecture of the building and the age of it. So the next step is it goes to the federal level for the National Registry. So it's been a really good day and stepping stone in the process of getting this registered. And I can't say thank you enough to everybody who has donated by buying a brick and stuff that's in our walkway. Everybody who has come by and said congratulations on the house, it looks great, you know, way to make it a great piece to the community and stuff. And all of you who have followed along on my other channel, all the progress with this house. This house has truly become part of me and my personality and hopefully my legacy. And so I thank you all so much. And for everybody who has asked about the colonoscopy, and I'm sharing this because it's that important, that it's kind of embarrassing when you think about what a colonoscopy is, but the embarrassment doesn't mean anything in comparison to trying to help others to understand it's important. When you're of age, and now it's 45, they've dropped it from when I was first of age, it was 50. Now they're looking at 45. Who knows? With our diet and things now, it might end up being 40 in a few years. But if you are at risk, or if you're at 45, talk to your doctor about your colonoscopy. It's painless, okay? Trust me, it's painless. It may seem embarrassing. The worst part about it is cleaning out your bowels, but we all probably need to do that anyway because of all the crap we eat. Do that. I ended up having just one polyp this time, which is good, about 2 centimeters, and they cut that sucker out when they do the colonoscopy, and they send it to the lab, and they'll see if it's cancerous or not, and I'll know about that in about a week. So the good thing is, if it is cancerous, it's early enough before it can become something worse, and that's what I want for all of you guys, to catch something before it gets to be bad. So with that being said, I always tell everybody, tell the people you love how much you love them, because you might not get the chance again. And I truly do love you guys and appreciate all of the love and support that I get from you. And Mike McDaniels, you got to do better than that, bro. Oh. Have a good night, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.